These are Hollywood's greatest stunts. Yeah! Bond is back. In the action-adventure Die Another Day, starring Pierce Brosnan.
Okay, good. Show me the strike, please.
Director Lee Tamahori is responsible for keeping the legendary 007 at the top of his game.
You can't have a Bond movie without action. It's not possible. It is part of the almost the formula of Bond movies. People expect big action, and they expect it bigger all the time. I wanted to do some gigantic scale action. Some of the stuff we put in here was not written in the movie. I made it bigger.
They always pack a punch, Bond films, but of the ones that I've done, this is way ahead of the game.
Fair enough.
Making the ambitious action a reality is up to second unit director and stunt coordinator Vic Armstrong, working on his 7th Bond film.
The Bond action has traditionally been a great driving force during a Bond film, so our job is to try and come up with exciting moments.
Nice smooth, coming nice and fast and smoothly stop.
Vic Armstrong is a hero in my book. He's a man who has put the gold dust on these films, has a great sense of style, so I couldn't do it without him.
In one challenging sequence, Bond and the evil Zhao, played by Rick Yoon, slide into a dangerous game of cat and mouse.
The entire ice chase probably took 3 months in total to shoot. And that's just dogged hard work by a solid, dependable action unit crew working around the clock.
As a tribute to the early 007 flicks, Bond will be driving an Aston Martin, a car not designed for ice capades.
That Aston Martin originally cost about $250,000, but we've spent nearly $200,000 modifying them by putting our own racing engines in and gearboxes, which we could only use on the ice lake, otherwise we could never achieve what we went for out there. So they're quite expensive vehicles at the moment.
The barren landscape of this frozen lake in Iceland poses a unique challenge for Vic.
It's just the two protagonists in it, Bond and Zhao. So it was quite a challenge to come up with an interesting chase on ice with no things to interact with, if you like. So there's no animals, no polar bears to swerve around, apart from icebergs.
Precision stunt driver Ray DeHaan will be doubling Bond, and George Cottle will be doubling Zhao.
There was quite a lot of pressure, and the sequences were done at speed. I mean, it's all real speed. There were some moves where we was coming through some very tight alleyways, and we had to change direction quite a lot. And when you drive on very slippery gravel or ice, you're predicting 2 turns ahead where you're going to go, so you've got to make a decision back there. So if that decision's wrong, you're going to come out wrong at the other end.
But it's not all smooth sailing for Ray.
We had one mishap where, I'm not going to make excuses, I hit an iceberg basically, and we wrote off a car, and I had 4 days off with severe concussion. But you know, that's the nature of the game, really.
With a car chase in the can, Vic determines that the 10-inch thick ice on the frozen lake is too thin to do car flips. So he moves everything to an airfield in England where they recreate Iceland. Vic's first big task: to simulate Bond's car being flipped by rocket fire. But he's not about to risk the Aston Martin in preliminary tests.
It's critical it landed on its roof, didn't roll too far, didn't go half over. It has to land straight on its roof, slide in a dead straight line.
We'd covered the ground with a silicone so that it was very slippery, it would slide along on its roof. And because a stunt like that, there's quite a lot of damage to the car. So it's not something we can just do over and over again. So it's worth spending those extra hours so that we get it right the first time.
I think the car disappears less, you feel it's underneath it, lifted it.
It's only a touch.
Yeah, it feels it's kicked you up in the air.
Yeah.
That's what the whole idea is supposed to be, yeah.
Now, their preparation will be put to the real test. The pipe ramp is bolted to the ground and greased down to reduce any friction on the car.
got to line the car up to the ramp. It's about 4 inches in from the driver's side wheel, which I'll be touching the ramp with. Then it's a matter of holding on to the steering wheel, and it's a bit of a bumpy ride.
Turn over!
Speed.
And action! Got it. And got it! It's slippery here, guys. Be careful. It's slippery here. The car slid a nice long way, which will take us into the next cut, which is the car sliding along, then firing itself back onto its wheels using its ejector seat as a cannon.
A towing mechanism and a small explosion flip the car back onto all fours.
Perfect. Wonderful. Okay.
For the climactic jump through the Ice Palace walls, Vic wants to avoid wrecking the Aston.
Normally when you see cars jump, they go up like that and they come down very nose first. They always land nose first and they break the back of the car. Then you cut to another angle and the car's zooming down the road all nice and level again. Obviously you've changed the car, which is a cheat that I try to avoid if I can.
Vic had designed this pipe ramp where he'd got 2 pipes put them together, and they extend for 14 feet. And usually when you take a car off of a ramp, its flight is governed by the suspension, and it can throw it in all different angles. But by running up 2 steel bars which are covered in grease, you get a nice flight.
To break Ray's fall and hopefully salvage the car, the set is loaded with bales of compressed snow.
The old saying of the stuntmen is, it's not the falling that hurts, it's the stopping. So therefore, the longer you take to slow down, the less it's going to hurt.
A few final touches from the Ice Patrol, and they're ready to roll.
That was 60, yeah? Yeah. Right.
And turn over!
Speed.
And action! 5, 4, 3, 2.
The stunt's a success, and the car survives to drive another day.
You have a bit of adrenaline flowing through your body, so sometimes, you're a little bit shaky, a little bit, but you've done exactly what you thought you would do, so it's quite nice to walk away afterwards. It was great to be able to double for Bond yourself, so for a moment I was James Bond.